Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are continuing our capitalism, and it has progressed significantly. We now hold almost all of Britain and a significant chunk of North America. So that is looking absolutely phenomenal, and of course, I just restarted the game, and as usual, this frame rate is not great. Actually, I didn't just restart the game. To be honest, the game has been running for about an hour at this point, but it had been completely paused. I just loaded the save game and was off doing other things. But I don't know why it does this. When I start up the game, the frame rate is really low, and then over the course of the episode, it recovers. It's very strange. Regardless, it doesn't really matter for our purposes. So we can try to buy British Columbia from the Canada Popular State. They're unwilling. Fair enough. Let's see about North Dakota. No. Saskatchewan. There we go. Excellent. We got some land there. How about Alberta? The provincial government of the United Arab States. No, get out of here. So next up, we can try to buy Minnesota. There we go. And Northumberland. There's not much UK left over here, but we can definitely try. They accepted it. Excellent. And Lancashire? They should be more likely to accept this now, but they did not in that particular case. So next up, we can try to buy Tennessee. And there we go. Fantastic. So we're definitely making very, very good progress on that. Of course, we need to continue to build infrastructure in places where it may be necessary. So let's see, not too much going on there, but then, of course, there's a lot more civilian factories for us to queue up, because we just spent a bunch of them. And that's absolutely wonderful. So we'll get that going, and we'll just continue to buy the world. Fantastic. This ball is definitely rolling at this point. There's not much that anybody can do to stop us, to be honest. Like, even if they were to try to declare war on us, yeah, we're not well set up for it, right? We're not in position for a war, but we could get there. We'd take some initial losses, and then we'd probably end up steamrolling them, if I'm honest. So that's absolutely wonderful. At this point, I would say that we are definitely the #1 world power. I think that's very, very clear. How are we doing on our coring? Anyway, I want to check in on that quick. Oh, look at that. See, the frame rate has already improved somewhat. Look at the scrolling there. I saw these 30s here, and I definitely want to get these done. So we'll get that one underway, and then we'll get this one underway. But then we need to continue coring more slowly. These are the only ones that are... I'm not sure what the difference is between these. These are 120. These are purchased, but so are these. So I don't know why these are different, but they definitely are. Let's get this core finished up. That'll be absolutely fine. We're just kind of chilling for the time being, but I'm looking at the amount of manpower growth that we're getting right now, and I'm like, that's pretty insurmountable. 44,000 a month recruitable growth, that's insane. That is a crazy amount of growth. So that's absolutely wonderful. We're going to start coring Northern Kashmir here. I just want to get that core underway for sure. And then we'll go back to purchasing more territory, I'm sure. But how are we doing on our more expensive cores? We don't have one ongoing right now. Okay. I kind of feel like we should just save up for that for a bit. So to that end, we can work on more coastal forts. There's some additional coastal territory that we took. And then we can start spamming out, like, anti-air and things like that. So that'll be absolutely fine. We'll get that all underway. We finished up the nuclear torpedo. Cool. And we're not really expecting... Really? This again, huh? This keeps changing on us out over here. And so does this. These are all held by vassals. I'm wondering if they're doing something weird there. They very well might be. So let's get some defenses going up over here. Excellent. Also, is this music from this game? Hang on. This is London in Flames. Apparently it is, yeah. I was just like, I'm 95% sure I've heard this song in other Paradox games. Like, My initial thought was Europa. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about Paradox Radio in City Skylines. That could actually be what I'm thinking about. I think that's reasonably likely from the first City Skylines. Is the second City Skylines any better at this point, by the way? I have not looked at that game since our series on that ended, and I don't know. Maybe it's better, maybe it's not. Regardless, for right now, I just want to queue up anti-air everywhere. So we're going to do that. This is low priority, of course, and we're just going to get this built wherever we can while we're waiting for some of our political power to build up. We're absolutely gated primarily by political power at this point. So we need to make sure that that's got anti-air. This can have anti-air. We have some of these island regions. I don't know if we have anything out over here. I don't think so. We do have this, though. It's kind of hard to keep track of what we have and what we don't. So that seems absolutely fine. We can build up here. For some reason, we don't own this, but okay. Sure, that's not considered separate in this game. That's fine. We'll get that going. We'll do the Aegean Islands as long as I'm thinking about islands at this moment. There we go. And now it'll be much easier to see where these are located. I think that was all of our island holdings. It's a little hard to tell. Maybe. So those are impassable. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's all impassable up over that way. So we'll just get all of this anti-air built up here. We're not anticipating using the anti-air, to be clear. This is just something for our factories to do. But if we have to use the anti-air, then I'm sure it'll be very convenient. Okay. So we'll just do something about like this. There we go. We're at 79 political power right now. I'm keeping an eye on that. And once we hit 120, or after we hit 120 at some point, we'll see when that point actually is. But after we hit 120, we'll get a core going, and then we'll probably look at doing more purchasing. SFR Yugoslavia holds that, huh? Okay. That's a little awkward. So we'll just continue to build anti-air up in all of these holdings up here. Some of this we hold, some of it we don't. And it can be a little bit awkward because we can't purchase those capital states. Which I get why we can't purchase capital states, but I really feel like there needs to be some form of a non-war tool for this type of playthrough for doing that, for getting them to join your cause. And I really think a diplo-vassalization with political power is probably the way to go on that for Paradox. But that's not something that exists in the current state of the game. So that's fine for now, but it's certainly something that I would like to see. Especially when you consider we already have a big, big need of political power, and that would just strain our political power even further, which is good. That's exactly the sort of thing we want to see. We want to have to make hard choices with that sort of thing. So we'll get all of this queued up here. I do see that we're almost at 120 political power right now, but I just want to go around and get all of this queued for the moment. This'll be fine. We can bank up extra political power. It's not the end of the world. So we'll get all of this anti-air queued up over this way. We have a lot of coverage to build in Asia, and this is not surprising. There's also all of this out over here in Japan, and that's, of course, going to be a whole thing, too. There's this out over this way. There we go. Excellent. So this is, of course, rather a lot of anti-air, but to be honest, it's not going to take that long to build. We're going to have this all finished up pretty quickly, all things considered. So that's absolutely fine. This is just something for our factories to do for now. So we have 142 political power. That's looking good. I'm going to continue to bank that for the moment while we finish up our Asian anti-airs here. Okay. There we go. We've got this up over here still, but there's not all that much left to do over here. That looks good. So that's our Asian, African, European anti-airs done. Looks like the American ones are done too. We'll call that good. So that seems great, and now we can start coring. So what do we want to core here? Well, it kind of doesn't matter. Let's just start something coring, and then we can get to purchasing. So Can we get Kentucky? Yes. Yes, we can. What about Arkansas? Excellent. Illinois? I think I missed that click. Okay, they don't want to give us Illinois. We'll try to buy Manitoba. Excellent. North Saskatchewan. Nope, Canada doesn't want to give us that. So Canada's been a lot less willing to give us territory than the Communist States of America, which I find immensely entertaining. No doubt about that. That's really funny. But eventually we'll be able to get some of this. Now, one thing I'm noting is, do we have the ability to get these? I'm not seeing them pop up here unless it's far down on this list. Canada, Communist States of America. Okay, there it is from the Mexican Socialist Republic. I'd like to get that. We'll see if they'll give it to us. That's a no. And this one up over here had an icon there, but it disappeared. Okay, well, that's fine. We've got a lot of things to work through here, for sure. So we'll try to buy Prince Rupert. There we go. Excellent. And the Northwest Territories is likely something that we'll be able to get. Okay, excellent. So that's looking fine. Next on the list is Wisconsin. So we will have that very, very soon here, but we need to wait for some political power to regenerate. In the meantime, we can check infrastructure in some of these new acquisitions. Yep, we definitely need to build some infrastructure here. There we go. And, of course, we can check in on anti-air. Excellent. And then we can check in on the coastal forts, because we did get a little bit of coastal terrain there. Nice. And finally, civilian factories. Wonderful. So there are, of course, roughly 1 trillion civilian factories for us to queue up. Well, we already have roughly 1 trillion. There's not really roughly 1 trillion to queue up. There are a few to queue up. But this is kind of insane, to be honest. This is an insane way to play this game. I'm actually surprised they even added this. It's kind of wacky. So at this point, let's see if they'll part with Wisconsin. No, they do not want to give up Wisconsin. Okay, Northern Ontario. Yeah, they gave us that. Cool. Next up would be Virginia. No, they don't want to give us Virginia. North Carolina. They'll give us that, though, and okay. They'll just cut off the North from the South. I guess we can just say we're preventing another civil war here. We'd kind of need to get our hands on Virginia for that, though, to be honest. I mean, there's that whole Richmond thing, right? So with that underway, next up, we've actually got Georgia. And I was about to go over to the SFR Yugoslavia because I was like, oh, wait, Georgia. No, it's not this Georgia. It's this Georgia. Excellent. So we're going to go for that. Unwilling to part with their land. Fair enough. Next up would be Alabama. I'd be kind of shocked if they're not willing to part with Alabama. The United States just declared war on the Communist States of America and joined the South American Association. New York just rebelled. Well then. I kind of want to just let that play out. I want the Communist States of America to crush this. Because if the United States wins, New York is a lot more valuable of a state than Washington, D.C. is. Although Washington, D.C. is part of Maryland in this game. Okay, that's good to know. That's still a more valuable state. New York is more valuable than Maryland. So I want to give it a rest with purchasing the Communist States of America. I want to focus then on other locations. And a lot of this is indeed Communist States of America. But the next up would be Ontario. And we got it. Excellent. So we're going to focus on the Canada Popular State for now, and maybe like some Mexico. There's not too much that we can do over on the Europe side right now because we need SFR Yugoslavia to end their existing war before we can really start to push over there. So we just kind of got to chill over there and just continue to take over here. Unfortunately for us, hang on. This is interesting. So we can't expand down here right now, but France took this over from the United Mexican States, or the United Mexican States were down here. So once this war ends, then we might, emphasis on might, be able to expand into South America. That'd be really good. Let's see if the UK will give us Lancashire. That'll give us the entirety of the main British island. No, they didn't want to do it. Fair enough. Okay, Yukon Territory. Excellent. So we're not interested in Alaska at this moment. I want to check in up over here and see how they're doing here. It looks like not well. The United States is being crushed by the Communist States of America, which is what we want. That is our desired outcome here. We do not want there to be two states here because that means that there's one capital that we can't get, or one additional capital that we can't get, right? So that's absolutely fine for now. Nearly everything here is Communist States of America, but we can try to buy none of it, and let's see if we get that. Yep, we did. Fantastic. And we can try to buy West Quebec. Okay. Sure. Excellent. Hang on. So that's Southern Ontario there. That's St. Lawrence. That's Maurice. That's North Quebec. Okay. These states are kind of weird. Okay. Sure. Well, for right now, I do want to try to buy North Quebec. There we go. Excellent. So that's all looking absolutely great. We can try to buy Labrador, and I think we probably should kick the UK out of America. And, I mean, they're not entirely gone yet. They've still got Newfoundland over here, but we'll see what we end up getting there. And we're just waiting for the US to be crushed. It'll be very, very soon. So next up, we'll buy Maurice. Got it. And we're just focusing on Canada for the time being. So that looks good. We'll go back to focusing on the US, or, well, the Communist States of America, very soon here. So, unwilling to part with that land, huh? Okay, Canada hadn't said no for a while, so fair enough. Buying St. Lawrence would be very good for us, of course. If we control the St. Lawrence waterway, that is a significant blow to the Communist States of America if a war breaks out. Because that is the connection from the Great Lakes to the sea. I don't know if this game models it correctly. Oh. SFR Yugoslavia just capitulated. That's kind of a big deal. Anyway, as I was saying, I don't really know if this game models it correctly. I know that, say, Victoria absolutely does not model it correctly, at least not for the way that it works in the modern period. I'm not sure exactly how it worked back in that period, but in this period, which is kind of close to the modern period, right? We're pretty close, actually. We're in 65. So in this period, this is absolutely connected via the St. Lawrence waterway, and yeah, I'm pretty sure this is modeled that way. So that looks good. We can also expand the iron mines in Quebec. That'd be wonderful. Oh, we can try to buy a location in Greece. We should do this. They gave it to us. That's good. That may open up the ability for us to push into Europe. That would be very, very good. So next up, what I want to do is I want to come over here and try to buy more of Canada. Of course, we're going to have to get some of these constructions going soon. I'm going to do that, I think, after we get this purchase done. So that's Central Macedonia down there. That's definitely giving us a way into Europe, and we do want to pursue that. But for now, let's buy from the Canada Popular State. That looks great. And now we can get queued up on infrastructure in some of these newer acquisitions and get a bunch of things in general queued up. So I want to check up here in Thrace as well. Yep. Okay. Looks good. Now we can do our coastal forts. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that Thrace was getting done there. And then we can build everything up over here. Excellent. Okay. This should queue up. There we go. And that's all of the coastal forts other than what we've got over here. Excellent. So with all of that in there, now we can, of course, work on anti-air, which we don't need this to be super high priority. We'll just put this in something like that. Excellent. And then we probably need some over in Thrace as well. There we go. Looks good. So with that all queued up, wait a second, I forgot to do the most important part, the civilian factories. This is absolutely high priority. We want to get civilian factories built as quickly as we can. And the autosave coming in is preventing us from doing just that. There we go. Cool. Okay, so we can get some additional constructions going in quite a lot of places here, which is fantastic. We want to put our civilian factories to work, building more civilian factories. Got to get that snowball effect continued, right? Because we are absolutely snowballing right now. To a kind of ridiculous degree, actually. So out over here, there's definitely quite a number of civilian factories to be put in as well. Okay, there we go. So that looks good, and now we can go back to purchasing. So I want to check in on the status of this war. The US is definitely falling back. They're getting pushed in. The communists kind of have them encircled at this point, and that's great. We are delighted about that one. So what I want to do next is I want to continue to buy Canada. St. Lawrence would be huge. Yeah, they're unwilling to give us that. I'm deeply unsurprised about that one. We'll see about British Columbia. If I can zoom. Okay, yep, they gave us British Columbia. Fantastic. So next up is going to be Northern Manitoba. And their capital is Ottawa out over here. So yeah, we can't take this state, but that's absolutely fine. We don't need it. So that sounds great. Let's see. These are all communist states of America here. Anything else from Canada available? Vancouver Island. Okay, sure. They gave it to us. Excellent. They do still hold this up here. So I don't know if we can get that. We don't have much ability to purchase overseas, like over water, right? Which is kind of wild, but we'll see if we can get Central Macedonia and open up some European acquisitions. Yeah, we got it. Cool. So that looks good. And at this point, I think we've pretty much exhausted what we can purchase from Canada. And we just kind of need to wait for New York to fall. Because we are going to start building up our acquisitions in the US more. That's absolutely going to happen. So next up, we can buy a Pyrrhus. We'll see if they'll part with it. No, they're not willing to. Fair enough. So these wars are still ongoing. This is American Germany out here. Okay, this is the Communist States of America here. So they're definitely pulled in multiple directions, but they're significantly weakened by us taking over like 50% of their original land at this point. This is insane that they're letting us do this, for the record. I don't know any nation on the planet that would take these deals. So we can try to buy North Saskatchewan here. Canada gave it to us. Excellent. The Polish People's Republic has declared war on the Kingdom of Poland and joined the Allies. Well, okay then. So that's going to be exciting for them, I'm sure. We can try to buy from Mexico again. Excellent. And Mexico City is down here, so we can buy this. It might be on cooldown right now, though. Noted. We still have a lot of Communist States of America locations that we want to purchase. But as of right now, we're giving them a reprieve. Specifically because I want them to crush New York. We are much better off having only one state over here as opposed to two. So that'll be wonderful, but it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we will continue to acquire. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.